It's Monday, April 29th. Thank you for joining us on Up to the Minute. We're bringing you all the news, announcements, and events, along with a couple of special guests. I'm Dr. Amy Tan, Dean of HCC's English and Communications, along with Dr. Nicholas Cox, our History Department Chair. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. Good morning, Amy. It's great to see you.
You too, and officially the last week of classes.
That's right. One more week of classes, and then it's off to exams.
Right, and then before we know it, we're going to be celebrating graduation.
Well, we are live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and on YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCCTV at noon, 5:10 p.m., Monday through Friday.
That's right. We're glad you could all join us today for Mental Health Monday. We're discussing the serious subject of suicide, but also how we can learn some steps to help prevent it. And we're joined by Dr. Becky Hauri, our licensed psychologist and disability services counselor for HCC Counseling and Ability Services. Good morning, Dr. Hauri. You can unmute
morning.
yourself.
There we go. Good morning. Good to see you.
It's great to see you. It's been a while since I've gotten to see you. But we're glad you're going to join us today, and just hang on 1 minute and Dr. Cox will be right with you.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Excellent. First, we're talking about Youth Apprenticeship Week. That's a hard word to say, with one of our favorite guests who knows all about it. Good morning, Dr. Christina Robinson.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I want to introduce you. I forgot to say you are the Executive Director of HCC's Work-Based Learning and Industry Partnerships. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
It's always good to hear about your amazing programs. As we said, you're here to talk about yet another apprenticeship program for our students. And I know how important these programs are because we have an emphasis on work-based learning, project-based learning, and those industry partnerships are just critical to what we do at HCC. Can you tell us, you have a really big event coming up on May 9th that has to do with apprenticeship, right?
We sure do. So first, I just want to mention youth apprentices. A lot of people misunderstand what a youth could be or can be, right? So youth apprentices can be anywhere between age 16 to 24. So that's a wide range for youth, right? So this May 9th, we're celebrating Youth Apprenticeship Week. It's the first ever U.S. Department of Labor Youth Apprenticeship Week ever. So we're really, really excited to be participating in this. In the past, we've celebrated Apprenticeship Week, but this is really focused on those youth so that we can really give them the opportunity to think about what other avenues might be out there for youth.
That's fantastic. And it's going to be Thursday?
Yes, Thursday, May 9th from 9 to 2.
And where is it located?
It's going to be at our East Side campus, or some people say Southeast campus, but it's going to be right there in the main learning hub. And right now we've got well over 200 individuals that are going to be there, youth, both from HISD and some other areas, to learn everything they can about how apprenticeship can be an alternative pathway to a career.
It's really exciting. And 16 to 24, so obviously it's an excellent opportunity for us to partner with our ISDs. And just it is a wonderful way. I have nieces and nephews, and they're always asking me, how do you get an internship? How do you get? And so it's not an internship, but it's similar. Right?
It is. So we have the Gulf Coast Region Apprenticeship Hub. And so what that hub does is it focuses both on apprenticeships and internships. So we like to say apprenticeship because it's earn while you learn and they get paid. Many times internships don't pay. However, I will say the more and more employers that we're speaking with, and we're kind of educating on the importance of providing a wage while individuals are working on their site, we're seeing more paid internships as well. But apprenticeships are nationally registered by the Department of Labor. So the Department of Labor says they're going to get specific skills, and they're going to get wages, and they're going to get at least a 1-year contract. So it's really exciting for students students. And we also have pre-apprenticeship opportunities where individuals go in and they might only be there for a couple of days, 3 weeks, maybe summertime, right? Where they can go in and be a pre-apprentice and then roll straight into an apprenticeship. So like I said, it's a nice alternative pathway for those individuals that might not be going the traditional route.
And what are some opportunities and trends within industry?
Sure, absolutely. Well, we're actually seeing more and more industry partners say, you know what, I want the skills, right? That is what I'm focused on. I want the skills. I want them to be able to come in and hop right on and get work done. So as far as trends goes, we're so fortunate that both the state and the federal government right now are investing so much in skill-based learning. And as we meet with these employers, we know we're all about degrees, but a lot of the employers are very focused on them getting the certificate while they're getting the degree, right? Because they want them working as soon as possible. So really the trend is, hey, find us somebody that has these skills. We will get them ramped up if necessary on the job while they're going to school and potentially getting that associate's or bachelor's degree. And, here at HCC, we're so fortunate that we can literally take them from a certificate to an associate's all the way through a bachelor's. So that can be a very long time at that employer.
It's a great partnership. And I know you've been working on these programs for several years now. And developing these relationships. And it really is key because we know that all of our students are working students. Very few of our students come to us and do not need some sort of a job. And this is a way for that job to really contribute also to the educational, and career path that they've chosen. What are some of the keys to the success of these youth apprenticeship programs?
Sure. I think the big key is the employer, right? You have to have an employer that's willing to be a champion for students and a champion for youth. And they have to identify mentors that are willing to take the time and invest in these individuals with the hope that long-term that investment is going to be worth it. And I think we're seeing employers realize that, not everybody's going to come to the job fully prepared. Not everybody's going to have 5 years worth of experience. They have to invest time and effort into building that talent pipeline if they're really hoping to grow that succession plan, because more and more people are retiring, right? I recently had an opportunity to meet with the wastewater, our mud districts, right? And they're like, in the next 5 years, half of our leadership's going to be retired. So what are we going to do? Like, we've got to get those apprentices in there learning wastewater, understanding how to work in that industry, which many of them have never thought about going into a wastewater industry. I personally didn't really know much about it until COVID. So, these are opportunities that students may not have even been approached. Another one, we just launched our first ever international freight forwarding partnership. A lot of students don't know what freight forwarding is, right? But it's a huge avenue with a lot of growth. We have one of the largest ports in the country. So these are opportunities, once again, that youth might not even be aware of, that we're bringing into the fold so they can have that exposure and potentially have a long-term career.
It's fantastic. I really, working with industry partners that are here in the Houston area.
Yes.
This is just amazing work and critical work. As you say, we need to train the workforce of the future today.
Yes.
And HCC is pleased to have a part of that, to play a role. And I know, you hear a lot of people talk about soft skills, and we want students when they're here at HCC to develop those soft skills. And then I think employers are recognizing that because their industries are so specialized, so highly specialized, that there is a role that they are playing to make sure that our students are ready. Before I let you go, what would you say the role of policy and advocacy is in this initiative?
Sure. Well, right now, the federal government is looking over what apprenticeships look like because a lot of people have been doing apprenticeships in different ways, measuring to different standards. So I think the government's looking right now to say, what does that look like moving forward and how are we going to integrate employers with that? So that should be coming down the pipe soon. As far as advocacy and policy goes, once again, we're so fortunate to live in a state like Texas, a state that is all about investing both in our employers and in our students. And so the Texas Workforce Commission has put forth significant amounts of money to bring apprenticeship to the fold. And, quite honestly, one of the grants that we recently ended, that's how we help launch our Gulf Coast Region Apprenticeship Hub, because that investment in entrepreneurship and growth, right? So, I think from a policy perspective, we will continue to tell our leaders how important industry is and certificates and connecting our students with those job opportunities that make sense, and continue to advocate for the fact of keep reinvesting, because these dollars that you're putting in are putting people to work, and that is our future Houston or future Gulf Coast region, right? So I'm advocating every day for how we can generate more revenue into our departments, and fortunately the state of Texas is doing that.
Absolutely. And we, again, know how critical that work is and how important it is to get the word to students that these opportunities exist. So thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah.
Christina Robinson, Executive Director of Work-Based Learning and Industry Partnerships. We'll have all your information in our post after the show.
Thank you. Have a great day.
It was great to see you. Take care. And on to you, Nick.
Oh, thank you. That was a great segment. A lot of really, fine opportunities for HCC students. So we're going to pivot for Mental Health Monday here to Dr. Becky Hauri, licensed psychologist and disability services counselor for HCC's Counseling and Ability Services. Welcome to the show, Becky.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I'm glad to share mental health information with everyone. It's really important. Isolation and loneliness has been one of the biggest risk factors, according to the Surgeon General right now.
Well, today we're going to ask you a little bit about QPR. And like CPR, it's an emergency response when someone's in a crisis, but I confess, I have not heard this acronym before. What does QPR stand for?
Okay, QPR stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. If you can identify, the QPR training allows people to be trained in recognizing warning signs so that they can intervene in a way to get people to help that may be suicidal.
Now, do I understand we have a QPR training session tomorrow?
Absolutely. It's tomorrow from 10 until 11, Tuesday, April 30th at the West Loop campus. And I'm looking forward to having a lot of faculty and students attend.
No, that's wonderful. We're going to definitely include information about that event in our post after the show. But how often does HCC offer QPR training?
Several times a semester, 2 to 3 times a semester. We offer it at various locations throughout the system.
Well, before we talk about gatekeepers, I understand you have some stats to share with us about QPR and mental health.
I do. Okay. From 2023, most recent stats, the third leading cause of death from people 15 to 24, and also people 25 to 34, is suicide. The fifth leading cause of death between people 35 and 44 is suicide. Many of our students are in this age range, and people don't think about it. But, suicide is really increasing, and we want to stop it. Another thing that we find is that men are 4 times more likely to die of suicide than women, 3.9, almost 4 times more likely. And the reason for that is men often use more lethal means of hurting themselves than women. A lot of times guns are used with men, whereas if there's an overdose and the person gets to the hospital, there's a chance that they'll live. A gunshot wound, that your chances of living are much, much lower. And so we find more men and particularly white men committing suicide. We have a lot of people coming from war with PTSD. We have people in depression, with people in anxiety. And when somebody commits suicide, they honestly believe that there's not another way out, that that's the best thing they can do. And so we want to reach out to those people and show them there's another way.
And the people who would do that, we call them gatekeepers. What is a gatekeeper, and how does somebody learn to become one?
Okay, you learn to become a gatekeeper by coming to the training that's being offered. We offer this a couple times a week, but the next one is tomorrow at West Loop. And they are able to recognize the signs, question, persuade, and refer students. They don't become mental health professionals by any stretch of the imagination, but they're able to recognize the signs and respond appropriately to them to get help. And so, but by becoming a gatekeeper, you can do that. I have done gatekeeper training, which trains the gatekeepers how to recognize those signs.
So just like CPR, I guess you can provide the person a little bit of assistance until they get in expert care.
That's correct.
And the first part of that is questioning. Why is it difficult to talk to people and ask questions about suicide?
Well, the first response when somebody's suicidal and an individual hears it just out of the blue, they may be angry, they may be in denial, they may they don't want to hear that. They're afraid. And so if they respond in some way, well, like, that's really stupid, or you don't want to do that, that's crazy, that isolates the person that's thinking about it. And so they don't want to talk anymore. And it's the individual's gut reaction because they're afraid, because they're in denial, because they don't believe that their friend or their student would do something like that. That's just a gut reaction. And so we want to train people to do differently than their gut reaction.
Yeah, the words or the tone that people use when talking about suicide with someone in a vulnerable position could really shut that conversation down or invite them to seek assistance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what we want them to do is to seek assistance, because suicide is one of the most preventable forms of death. And so we want to prevent as much as we can.
What does the persuade and refer part, are these actually two different steps, or are you persuading someone to seek expert help by referring them?
First, by persuading, they listen and respond to them. By listening and responding, you're saying something like, oh, things must be, if someone says, I don't want to live anymore, or things, I may not be here next year for the family reunion. What's going on? Why would you say that? It sounds like you might be feeling sad or depressed.
Mm-hmm.
A comment like that tends to open people up, the individual who's potentially suicidal, open them up more, so they're willing to share their feelings. And a lot of times they're holding them inside, they haven't shared them with anyone, and they keep seeing only one way out. And by opening up and talking about it, they begin to see more than one way out. So that is the persuade part. If someone is on campus, you could walk them down to a counselor. You could call the suicide hotline, 988, with them. You need to get them to that point, but you encourage them to open up rather than shut them down, and then take the next step after persuading, refer. But you don't want to leave that person alone, or just drop it off like, well, if you think about this, go ahead and do it. You want to actually refer and follow through and show that you care. I know I talked to one person, one young student at HCC, and she told me she attempted suicide at 16. She was very surprised in her hospital bed when friends and family came to her and told her how much they loved her and how much they cared about her.
She had felt alone in the world, and she was surprised.
Right.
So if the refer part really is, for HCC community members, students, staff, faculty, refer students to counseling, refer students to the hotline, what are some fairly specific warning signs that people could look out for other than the things you mentioned already?
Okay. Maybe people would be better off if I weren't around. Asking a pharmacist what it takes, how much medication you need to OD. Giving, those would be kind of verbal clues. Nonverbal clues would be giving away a prized possession. Let's say you caught a ball at a ball game and you were able to keep it, and it's something you put on your mantle, and maybe you had it encased in glass, and it was really, really important to you. You were so proud of that ball that you got at the Astros game. And then you ask somebody, well, I'd like to give it away. Would you like it? Giving away your animals. I'm thinking about, you've got a beloved cat or dog that you have around that you've always, just really cared about. And then you say, well, I'd like to find a new home for my cat or dog.
These sort of indications that someone no longer sees joy or even purposeness in relationships or
Continuing on,
objects.
and they're not going to be there to take care of their animal.
Right.
And they're not going to be there to take care of, they want their prized possession to go to somebody that they like. And sometimes, or I'm not going to be here next year, those kinds of things.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Hauri, we want to thank you for sharing this, and I hope you have good attendance tomorrow at the QPR training. Once again, for everybody out there, this is Dr. Becky Hauri from HCC's Counseling and Ability Services, a licensed psychologist and disability services counselor. We'll have more information about the event and your position in our notes after the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks to both of you. Excellent information for our HCC community. And we have some more news events and announcements to get to. And I'm going to start off by congratulating Dr. Latricia Harrison. Chancellor Dr. Margaret Ford Fisher has announced that effective May 1st, Dr. Latricia Harrison will begin serving as interim president of HCC Coleman College for Health Sciences. With a nearly 30-year career in healthcare and education, Dr. Harrison is a seasoned educator, healthcare provider, and entrepreneur. Having served as a clinical assistant professor at the University of Houston-Katy, a clinical faculty member at the UTMB, and a professor of nursing at Lone Star College, Dr. Harrison has mentored nursing students, ensuring their success through innovative teaching methods. She was also the CEO at NPC Family Clinic in Houston, where she not only provided direct patient care, but served as a mentor for graduate nurse practitioner students. Dr. Ford Fisher also thanks Dr. Norma Perez for stepping in as interim president during the transition. And we all congratulate Dr. Harrison. Welcome to HCC.
Yeah, that is great news for Coleman. All right, well, the spring 2024 semester is coming to an end, but we have an ensembles concert. Come support the arts and enjoy an evening of beautiful music provided by the HCC Concert Choir, Hayes Concert Choir, and instrumental ensembles. This will be Tuesday, April 30th, tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at the HCC Central Heinen Theater. Registration is not necessary. Everyone is welcome. So check our post after the show for more information.
Sounds like a great opportunity to see some wonderful concert choirs. So along with our Mental Health Monday guest, we have Mental Health Awareness Month, and we have a workshop at Central College. HCC's Counseling and Ability Services, as well as its partner, NAMI Greater Houston, will launch Mental Health Awareness Month with wellness information and tips. Attendees will also receive snacks, always important, treats, and giveaways. That's going to be Wednesday, May, I'm not sure which day, noon to 1:30 p.m. HCC Central in the Harmon Building, room 101. Be sure to check the post after the show for information and the date for Wednesday. I think it's this Wednesday, so that would probably be May 1st. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome. I'm over here giving you hand signals behind the scenes. Yeah, so we also have other arts events happening soon. This one is on Wednesday, May 8th. So the original student exhibition features work from all of our campuses in HCC's Spatial.io virtual gallery. Awards are given in art, drawing, graphic design, and digital media. There will be an artist reception on Wednesday, May 8th 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Reality Collab room at HEC Central. But you can see the art virtually at spatial.io gallery all the way through May 3rd. It's free, no registration necessary. Check our post after the show for more information.
Yeah, very exciting that we have that online now so that everyone can participate. I know it's wonderful to have in-person shows, but this is a way to make art accessible to everyone. So very exciting. And don't forget to put a pep in your step. It's almost that time of year. The year-end review process for 2023-2024 must have PEP documents with a status of acknowledged by June for any employee. For additional information about the PEP process, visit My HCC and click the Performance Excellence Program page under Getting Started with PeopleSoft. There you'll find a step-by-step action steps, or you can contact your talent relations senior partner. They are always ready to help us out. The deadlines are June 1st for 9-month full-time faculty and part-time adjunct faculty, and June 30th for 10-month full-time faculty and all full-time faculty and staff. Again, check the post after the show for more information.
I don't know about you, Dean Tam, but I am neck deep in PEP, doing PEPs every day.
Every day.
All right. Well, registration is open for both summer and fall. You should look to the catalog and choose the classes you're looking for. HCC has courses in online anytime modality, online on a schedule if you prefer virtual meetings. We also have classes in person, of course, and we have hybrids that meet in person and online. And we have labs in person and hybrid labs as well. All the modalities. Check the schedule, learn more about HCC programs, start dates and options, and cover your costs at hccs.edu/apply.
Yeah, be sure to check out the schedules, because I know classes are starting to fill for summer for sure. And I know students want to get their fall classes all lined up, and it's the semester is quickly coming to a close, as we were discussing at the top of the show. So coming up for Tasty Tuesday, Chef Ruben Ortega from H-Town Restaurants and an HCC culinary alum returns to talk about their Cinco de Mayo brunch. Yes, it's that time of the year already, Cinco de Mayo. And later this week for Thursday Family Fun Day, we'll welcome the San Jacinto Museum to talk Texas's independence from Mexico, which was only the beginning of our state's story. Thanks for being here with me, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to actually have to check out that Thursday episode.
Absolutely. That's going to be an important note in history. Well, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.